Welcome to the Dr. Dance Mom podcast, your guide to strong dancers with a bright future. I'm your host, Dr. Tara Christensen, doctor of physical therapy, dance medicine specialist, and proud dance mom. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. We are joined today by Angie from Pulze Athletic Wear, and she is going to talk to us a little bit about her product and the unique properties of that product. So I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. So Angie, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and tell us the story of how you got into making these items.
Yeah, no problem. Like she said, my name is Angie MacFarland. And I'm actually just a mom. I have 6 children from ages 17 down to 6-year-old twins. And while I did get a degree in business like over 20 years ago, I've just been a stay-at-home mom for the last 16 years. So this wasn't really like in the plan, but my kids had gone to school and I was kind of looking for things that I wanted to do. I didn't really want to go back into the corporate world because I'd been out of it for so long and I didn't want to start at the bottom. And then it just kind of fell in my lap where so my oldest daughter is 11 years old and she's entering puberty. And so I was preparing her for puberty and she realized and I realized that she cannot wear underwear with her dancewear. So, you know, that was what I was planning on introducing her with, was period underwear. Just because I feel like tampons is kind of intimidating for girls who are just starting out, who aren't regular yet, you know, they don't have heavy flows. And it's just kind of a scary prospect to just jump right into. I think they're great. I think they definitely have their purpose, but I think that's just a lot for a little girl who's just starting out. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? So I talked to my friends and they're like, yeah, you just go straight to tampons. Like, that's what you do in this industry. And I didn't love that, especially because I don't think I ever started wearing tampons full time till I was like 15 or 16 years old. Like, it just was a lot for me. And so I had some experience with period underwear. I'm in perimenopause myself right now, and I have super heavy periods where I will leak through a tampon in half an hour. And Same. So I've been using that along with period underwear. And so I was used to that, and it was like, this is really cool technology because that didn't exist when I was growing up, right? Like, I hadn't been introduced to that. And I was like, well, maybe there's some dancewear that has this built in because that makes sense to me. So I went online and I looked and I did find one. It was really hideous. It was just like a basic Leo, nothing to it, you know, and like my daughter does competition dance. She goes to conventions. She does all the things, and like, they wear cute clothes, you know, and they want to look cute. They want to feel cute. They want to be able to wear stuff that helps them breathe and move. So I'm just like, my daughter would never wear that, you know, like it served the purpose, but it just wasn't good enough. So anyway, I just continued to talk to my friends about it. And I was like, man, why don't they have this? Why doesn't this exist where it's built into the dancewear? And everybody was like, that is such a good idea. Like, I love that. I would totally buy that. And so it just kind of got to the point where I'm like, well, maybe I should do this, you know? And so I started looking into it, and I realized that it's not just dance, that there's a lot of professions or athletic professions where women don't wear underwear. So figure skaters don't wear underwear. Cyclists don't wear underwear. Even runners, like marathon runners, when they're wearing their buns, they don't wear underwear. Volleyball players don't wear underwear. So there's a lot of sports where these women, yes, they can use their internal products, but those products don't always work, right? Or you'll just leak or whatever. And when you're active, you tend to bleed more. So there's a lot of anxiety around periods for athletes. You know, they don't want to perform. I started looking into the statistics, and 50% of girls drop out of sports during puberty. And this is one of the reasons why.
Wow.
So I don't know if you have any additional insight to that as a physical therapist, but
No, I haven't heard that statistic before, but that is huge. And
it's
if you think
huge.
of it from a health and wellness perspective, in terms of like probably what that does to them, like just in terms of their level of fitness and so forth carrying forward. I mean, that's a big impact. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And it's due to a lot of things, but it definitely encompasses the period. So it's around, how they're feeling on their period, just the fact that their body is changing and they don't know how to handle that. The anxiety around, am I going to show? Is somebody going to be noticing if I'm wearing a pad? It impacts performance because they're not feeling well. Body image is a huge thing around it too, just because it's a new thing and it's scary, and you think everybody is looking at you when you're that age, and so there's a number of issues around it. But I realized that this is a need. This is something that doesn't exist, and like I said, again, I'm a mom of 6, and so even for me, I'm like, this would be a useful product because I like to go and work out, and I don't like to wear underwear when I work out, and if I'm on my period, that means I use a tampon, but then I'm worried about leaking. And then I've had 6 kids, including twins, and I have incontinence. Like when I work out, I pee. And I hate like having to go and stop my workout or having to wear underwear and then a panty liner, just to kind of control that. Or, I have to always wear black, and then I'm like, or even sweat, like you sweat down there. There's just so many ways you can leak. As women, we leak, we discharge, we bleed, we pee. It's just part of our life. And we feel like we can't talk about it, that it's shameful. And really, we need to change that conversation because it's completely natural throughout our entire lives. As little kids, we might pee our pants. And then during, menstruation, we might leak blood. And then, we have discharge in between. And then when we're intimate, things happen there. And then when you're going through menopause or perimenopause, things happen there as well. So it's just a part of our life the whole time. And anyway, I just got to the point where I was like, I feel like I need to try this. And so I started getting into it, and it's been a lot harder than I thought, to be honest. But I have this why of why I want to do it. I just realized, there's a gap in the industry. I started reading articles, and I would find things where it talked about in women's health how, even in the Olympics, they realized that there's a need for this. So there are companies that are coming out with this. The period underwear companies are starting to drop a few pieces. Even companies like Nike have 1 or 2. But nobody has taken this and created an entire brand around it. And kind of made that specific clothing for a specific sport. And so that's what I hope to do. And then in addition to that, like with dancers, I realized that they don't usually have built-in bras either, which
That I can tell you that is huge. Like so my own daughter's 11, and so a lot of the peers that she dances with are, 12, 13, 14, but they're all developing. And so like as their body's changing, they're finding that like they have to shop differently when they're shopping for leotards, and maybe wear an undergarment like beneath their leotard to, to hold them in. But yeah, so that piece is also what impressed me about the products, because that's something that there's a huge need for that as well.
Well, and it's about health as well, right? Like breast health, like we need to be supported, especially when we're active. And yeah, like my daughter, she's just barely developing, and that's almost worse because you're not quite ready for like a big sports bra, but there's enough that they're just like uncomfortable.
And they're self-conscious.
Yeah, self-conscious. And so, and then dancers usually, they'll, like you said, wear a sports bra, but you can't do that during competitions, right? So then they're like binding or they're using pasties. And I'm like, what are we, like in the 1940s? Like, this is ridiculous. This stuff exists. We've had it in swimwear forever. Why is it not in dancewear yet? So that was another need where I was like, why are we not designing these clothes to better fit these girls? And I think a part of it is because ballerinas back in the day, they used to be one size. And it was not healthy. And these dancers didn't even necessarily need any of that, right? Like
Yeah.
they honestly like might have not even had their period. They might have not had any breast development. Like kind of a
Yeah.
sad industry, but it's true. Like that's the way it was. And now, thank heavens that conversation has changed, and now we're accepting all kinds of bodies in dance, which is amazing. And everybody has an ability to dance, and so we need to change the conversation. We need to change the products available for these dancers so that they can be comfortable, they can be confident, that they're not having to wear like tons of layers, and just be able to focus on their sport and not have to worry about whatever their body is going through. So anyway, that's the story.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love it. How long have you been at this? So when did you start putting this all together?
Yeah, so it's been almost a year and a half. It's taken me that long just to develop the product. Like I said, it's a new technology kind of. It exists in underwear, but not as much in sportswear. There's not a lot of manufacturers who even do the period liners. And we wanted to create a liner that was completely seamless. So that was a challenge, especially for something like a short. The Leo was a little simpler because it was similar to an underwear, but the short definitely had some challenges that we had to figure out and, test and all of the good things. And I am really, really proud to say that it is amazing. Like we've done such a good job. I hate to like puff myself up, but I think just being a mom myself and knowing what was needed, like that helped me to develop the product. And so it's seamless, it's extremely thin, it doesn't feel like you're wearing a diaper, it feels like a regular liner. It's antimicrobial, it's odorless. Like honestly, I've tested the product, I've worn it an entire day and it's odorless. You just wash it like regular. It comes out smelling fresh and clean, and you can wash it at least up to 100 times.
Wow.
And then it has, so the liners that we are using are completely chemical free, which is really important because that area of your body is actually extremely sensitive and absorbs a lot. So it's actually, sometimes I'll tell people like, oh, that's gross. Like, I wouldn't want to not wear underwear and like be leaking into my clothes. And I'm like, well, we do that all the time in our cotton underwear, like all the time. And this is actually better. It's safer. It's more antimicrobial. It's more absorbent.
No, tell me a little bit about how much the liner holds. How
Oh,
does
yeah,
how
yeah.
does the product differ from what's already on the market? So there's a lot of like go-to brands that dancers tend to gravitate towards already. Like why would
Mm-hmm.
they make the switch? So what's the
Sure.
what's the difference between like the product that you're putting together besides the fact obviously it's integrated into a leotard, but I know that you also have a dance brief.
Mm-hmm.
And so how would that be different from some of the things that are already on the market and how absorbent is it?
Yeah, so that is where I was going to. So it is extremely absorbent. It absorbs up to 6 tampons worth of fluids. So like I said, I'm extremely heavy right now, like 2 days out of my period because I'm in perimenopause and I wore it all day long and it worked without anything else, no other, internal products because I wanted to test it. And it held extremely well. And then so a couple of, the dance world is starting to pick up on this. And so while I was developing this, like I said, there was just the one, but I've noticed a couple of other things pop up. So I think, I'm not sure who the parent company is, but I think like Discount Dance or Dance Solutions or something has come out with one where you can insert a liner into it. We tested that and it doesn't work very well because it bunches and it falls out of place. It's not comfortable, so that doesn't work very well. And then I know a lot of companies are coming out with underwear that you can wear underneath your leotard, which, if that's what you want to do, that's great. Again, it's not as seamless, it's going to bunch. You still might be able to see it through your leotard when it shifts or whatever. You're probably picking a lot more wedgies and that kind of stuff. So ours is completely integrated into the garment. So no additional bunching, no additional layers, nothing. It's just a part of the garment. And yeah, it's completely seamless too. So you can't see it from the outside. It doesn't look like a diaper. As far as other companies that are outside of dance that are producing things like leggings and stuff, they either look like a diaper, like literally, like they're so ugly. I would never wear that because people would be like, "Oh, she's on her period," you know. And yeah, it's great. Like we should be able to talk about it and not be afraid when we're on our period. But on the other hand, I'm like, nobody's business. Like they shouldn't have to
Yeah.
know when I'm on my period, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so, and we're fashionable. Like that was the other thing that was huge for me. I'm like, I want these clothes to be super cute. I don't want them to just be, oh, this is your period clothing, you know? I want them to be able to just wear it any time and not worry whether or not they are on their period. If they are, great. If they're not, whatever. If they're going to start, like you can just wear it any time and just feel normal and cute. So we spent a lot of time trying to make it fashionable, and we're going to come out with more designs. We kind of started simpler to begin with, just to get like the technology correct, and then we're going to create more elaborate designs as time goes by. So
Okay. And one thing that you did mention or talk about a little bit is that the liners are antimicrobial and chemical free, which I would say as a parent is a huge consideration when selecting products, especially for my kids. So why was it important that you incorporated those elements into your product, especially the chemical free aspect?
yeah, so when I was doing my research, I looked into the period underwear industry, and Thinx was one of the biggest first period underwear movers. And they got to be really huge. Well, it come to find out that they had chemicals in their liners, and it just completely killed the company. They had PFAS in there, which are really dangerous. You know, I've gone to fabric conferences where I'm learning all about fabrics, and it's fascinating, and the technology is amazing, which I had no idea about. But anyway, it's really super dangerous. Like now they are literally banning PFAS across the world. That's how dangerous it is. And
Wow.
you're putting it in your most sensitive area. And even things like tampons and pads, they're finding can be harmful. They think that it might cause cancer. Some tampons cause cancer or infertility. So I just really wanted to make sure that what I was offering was sustainable, that it was economical, that it was safe for use. And so, yeah, so it took us time to do that, and then we've also got patents around our products as well, which
That's
was
great.
another kind of barrier where I couldn't advertise a lot because those patents, I had to file them, and you're not allowed to advertise before that. So I feel like that's kind of inhibited us on being able to market it to the dance industry and other sports industries. But that was really important to me too, to make sure that we just protected the technology, and made sure that people weren't like copying us and not having the same high standards of offering,
Yeah.
chemical free and safe and all that stuff. So yeah, tampons and even pads, like pads can be a breeding ground for bacteria, and help create UTIs and all of that kind of stuff. So this is actually safer, better, more comfortable. So
Yeah. In terms of your website, so I've noticed you have it broken down into a few different sports. So you have dance and gymnastics, running, volleyball, yoga, tennis, and you have unique products for each of those, which is really cool because initially I was expecting to just find dance related products. So when I saw that you had it broken down by sport in multiple different sports, I was actually quite surprised by that because it's not something you do see often, which I know is what makes your brand a bit unique. Now, looking into the dance wear, the leotard is not yet available on the site. So when would we expect to see that in stock? And are you going to have like options in terms of different colors or things like that?
yeah, so we actually have only launched one product to date. I
Okay.
launched 3 weeks ago, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I kept seeing the need when I was on like Facebook groups and stuff, tons of people asking, I need this for my daughter, where can I get it? I would direct them to my website, to have them sign up for email, but I didn't have anything to offer them. So I just wanted to be able to at least offer something, and that was the first thing that we finished. So I'm like, let's launch now, soft launch, and we'll add products as we get into it. We are very quickly going to be releasing a shirt, a short, and 2 leotards. So those are coming. The leotards are dance specific. I am actually going to be working with the U of U. So I'm in Utah, University of
Okay.
Utah, gymnastics team, which is actually a really well-known national gymnastics team, to design a gymnastics leotard, which is kind of different than dance. They need to be a lot simpler because they'll have their instructors helping them with tricks, and they can't be getting caught in
Right.
like elaborate designs. So they have to be very simple. So I really am trying to be cognizant of what are the needs of that particular sport, and I want to design the garments specifically for that sport. So that's what I'm working on with that. I also am working on, so a mother of a figure skater is helping me to design a under camisole for ice skaters, because they wear those underneath their costumes. And so it's going to have the built-in bra, adjustable straps, that you can do different configurations, and the period liner as well. And it's going to be kind of thinner. So again, I'm trying, and this is difficult to do because like you said, a lot of, especially athletic wear, they don't get that specific. Nike does, but even something like Lululemon, it's just kind of athleisure.
Yeah.
But I feel like, again, that's the mission of my company, is to design specifically for the female body and specifically for a sport. So yeah, I do have all those categories. I don't quite have those products yet. I just want people to know that these are coming and they're in the
Yeah.
works. And some of them are, you can use across sports. So for example, my short would be great for yoga. It would be great for volleyball. It'd be great for running, dance wear,
Yeah.
and also I think teen clothing. I feel like there's a gap there as well. Like it's hard to find teen clothing. You either
Yeah.
have like adult or you have child, and you're like, well, my child is too big for this, but too small for that. Like, where do I find these clothes?
Or too
So I'm
mature
really,
for some of it. So you have an 11-year-old, I have an 11-year-old, and it's just
mhm.
like they're in that in between stage where they're like too mature for,
Yeah,
like a children's place or,
yeah,
Kids Gap or
ruffles and
something.
florals. Yeah.
Right, but then they don't fit into the adult sizes yet, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like we're still kind of on the border of children and adult sizes, but like
Mhm.
one's too big, one might be too small. So
Yeah,
yeah, I totally agree
totally.
with you there. 1,000%.
Yeah, so we're focusing right now on the teen market. Like I said, my product is perfect for anyone of any age. So I would love to expand into those areas as we grow. But I'm a one-man show. Like I'm using my own personal money to start this company. Um, I don't have investors or anything like that. So I kind of have to start out small, because you have multiple sizes, you have multiple colors, and so it gets expensive really fast for inventory. So that's kind of another reason why we're releasing stuff slowly, so that then I can take the money that we get and put it into more inventory.
Right.
But yeah, that's the goal, is to have lots of colors, lots of SKUs specific to the sport and across all ages. We're working on it. Hopefully we'll get there and we'll get the support that we need to be able to offer these products across the board. So,
One thing that I noticed on the site, again, looking at the dance brief, so it comes in black. Um,
yeah.
do you expect to have it in like a nude color? Because again, so we talked about competition, but a lot of these kids are wearing, basic dance costumes, and they do
Hmm.
wear a brief underneath their costume. And
Hmm.
so, if they have a white costume, let's say like a
Yeah.
black brief might show. So,
Yeah, for
is
sure.
there a plan to incorporate like different color options for the dance brief?
Definitely to offer different colors. We started with black just because I feel like with that particular piece, that is definitely going to be the most popular, because usually you pair with different tops. You want to have that option to put it with whatever color. The Leos were coming out in multiple colors. That one we just have black for now. But it's different. So, like I said, there are dance period underwears that exist that go underneath your costume. And just because of, like I said, the lack of resources and what I want to put my money into, I feel like that already exists. And so I don't want to take that on right now. Maybe eventually. Same thing with tights. Like there are some period tights out there, because I know some studios require tights.
Yeah.
And I just figure if they're already there, they can get that there. I want to focus on the stuff that isn't available at this point in time. And like the brief, I have a sample of it if you want to see it. But
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is our brief, and it is meant to be worn outside, right? Like it's thick. It's not something you'd want to be wearing underneath anything because you want to wear, like the goal is to wear limited amount of layers, not extra layers. But it's like super thin. I mean, you can see here, it looks just like a regular dance brief.
So that would be
And
more something that they would wear as like convention wear, let's say,
right, yeah,
or
with
something
like a
like that.
cute top.
Okay. Yeah.
So this, yeah, and it's completely seamless. I don't know if you can see, but you can't
Yeah.
see any seams whatsoever. So it's just kind of a different product than what's out there. And like I said, eventually, we'll probably offer those products. For now, that's not my focus. But I think part of the plan is eventually to license the technology to companies like Wiseman, because creating costumes is a whole different ballgame, right? Because
Yeah.
you only have like a team of a certain dancewear, and you have hundreds and 10,000 teams across the United States, and so they're all wearing different stuff, and so it's kind of a different ball game, and I don't think we're going to have the capacity to do that, but I'd love to license the technology to them so that they can provide that for their customers. So definitely that's a goal for us. Also
Yeah.
with collegiate, Olympic, high school teams, like I'd love to be able to license that technology to those costume makers as well so they can have that for their teams. So
Yeah, no, that would be great. And I think licensing it to the costume manufacturers is brilliant because, man, if that could be built into their costumes, that would be amazing for so many reasons.
and you can wear products with this. Like, I don't want you to feel like, either or, like, oh, I will wear a tampon or I will use this, because it's supposed to just take away that anxiety. Like, you totally can wear products with it. And it works very well without them, but I'd probably encourage that just because then you have that extra peace of mind.
Yeah.
But it just takes away that extra anxiety of, like, again, I don't know when I'm going to start. I've had numerous dancers tell me, like, oh, I've been at a competition or I've been about ready to go on stage and I start my period, and they're not expecting it, they're not ready for it. Or again, I'm dancing, I'm really active, I'm super heavy, and are my products going to last, or am I going to be leaking through? And a lot of the girls I know, they wear like tons of layers. They'll wear like period underwear or a pad, and they'll wear a tampon, and they'll wear their leotard, and then they'll wear shorts on top of it because they don't want anyone to know that they have all this stuff on,
Yeah.
so it's to just kind of eliminate that so that you can just wear your leotard and just feel confident and cool and have that freedom of movement, and yeah, just take away that anxiety. So
Yeah. How about the sizing for your products? How are they generally fitting? Are they true to size or do they run a little bit small, a little big?
So that's a little bit of a challenge as well, because we tried to base it on popular dance brands, just because that's kind of the standard in the dance industry world. The sizing is different from regular sizing.
Yeah.
And so I make a note on my website that, this might be a little smaller than you're used to. For example, I wear a medium usually in clothes, and I wear a large in this. Part of it's because I'm an adult, so it definitely is geared toward teen sizes, but it's going to have the same fit as like Five the Label or Tiger Friday. So
Okay. It's a good reference point for a lot of people.
I have other products if you want me to show the
Yeah,
products,
go
or
ahead. That would be great.
okay, awesome. So this is the shirt that we're coming out with, and it is all of our material.
Super
We
cute.
try to use super high quality athletic material. It's going to be breathable. It's going to be stain resistant. It's super buttery soft. When I talk to my manufacturers, I'm like, I want it to be like a Lululemon. Like, send me all the samples that are like Lululemon. So super soft. And then on the inside, we have the built-in bra. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
We don't have cups on purpose, because with cups, again, there's kind of a sizing thing. And so you put larger cups in, a larger bra size, smaller cups in a smaller bra size. And we want it to be universal. We want people to be able to wear this without having to worry about that. Also, I hate cups. I can't stand them
They
because
slide
shift.
around.
Yeah, they come out in the wash and then you put them back in and they never like are quite in the right area. So we're getting a patent on this as well. We designed this
Nice.
where it has a liner inside of it that is sewn in. It's not super thick, but it's thick enough to provide support and like any nipple show or anything like that. And
Right.
then it's stretchy so that it fits different bra sizes. Sorry, that's a little more, you can see it a little
Yeah.
better that way. So that, it's all the way from like preteen, just developing to like fully developed. So yeah, so that's the shirt. And we also are trying to incorporate, I don't know if we'll do this on every single style, but we are also incorporating, and this is a sample, guys, so these will be black. But anyway, we're incorporating adjustable straps that are also like,
Perfect.
you can either do them crisscross or you can do them straight up and down. So then again, we're trying to fit different body sizes. Yeah, so that's the shirt. And then I have the shorts. And these are our shorts. And again, they are seamless.
Super cute.
I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to
Yeah.
see, but they, I'll show the inside of it too. So this is the inside of it. It's got the liner built into it, but it's
Yeah.
super thin. I don't know if you can see as easily, but it's, again, just really thin. It just kind of feels like a regular short. It's stretchy too, so it can move with you. And then we're going to be developing additional styles. So we're going to have like more of a just regular bike short. We're going to develop it into leggings and unitards. So that's the short. And then finally I have a leotard here. And this is the leotard. This one is our
cute.
signature. Yeah, it's our signature leotard. So it is kind of simple. We did that on purpose because I wanted to create a universal leotard that can be worn for ballet,
Yeah.
can be worn for, whatever auditions and still be like kind of a classic look, and flatter all body types. So it is a simpler design for sure. But that was like on purpose.
And I love
And we are
that.
going to be coming out with like a lot cuter styles with different colors and all that stuff. And then again, it has adjustable straps on it so that, you can change it as you need to. And then it has the built-in,
Bra.
the built-in bra. And then it has the period liner as well in it. So just one piece. You don't need a bra. You don't need pads. You don't need pasties. You don't need anything. Just this is all you need. So.
One thing I appreciate about that is the adjustable straps, because I know from my daughter, I think that's the one thing. I think last year I spent so much time sewing and adjusting straps on
Pinning?
costumes because they were all too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, and some leotards too, it just depends. Like the size might fit her in the bodice, but the straps are too long. So I think
Yeah,
the
we
adjustable
did it.
straps is brilliant.
Yeah, we did a duet once with my daughter and another girl, and the other girl was shorter than her. But it's interesting when we were measuring for costumes, she actually had a longer torso. And
Yep.
I was like, what? Like, how is that possible? But, there's just different body types. Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
we're trying to accommodate for that.
It's brilliant, honestly, because having all of that, the period protection, the built-in bra, and then the adjustable straps is great. I mean, really, it's accommodating for a lot of people. And the one thing I do want to point out is looking at your website, the price point on some of your products is a little bit higher, but the quality of the product is huge, and it sounds like you put a lot of work and effort into making sure that you're using the highest quality fabrics, also making sure that those liners are chemical free,
Right.
antimicrobial, and the fact that you're potentially saving money on other products, right? So this is meant to replace, in some cases, or supplement the protection that you're using. And if you're using less of that disposable protection, then obviously you're saving money there. So and these last for a long period of time. You can wash them, you set up to 100 times. So this is definitely something that's worth and isn't more of an investment. So I think that just pointing that out, because I know some people will look at that and say, yeah, like that's a little bit more than I'm used to spending on a leotard.
It is and it isn't. So you have a full range of prices when it comes to dancewear. So Discount Dance, Dancewear Solutions, those are going to be your lower end, right? Where they're still relatively good, but quality isn't quite the same, maybe as or options aren't quite the same as some of the other brands. And then you're going to have like the Tiger Fridays, the Five the Label, which are a little nicer quality, maybe a little more variety in designs. And ours is actually pretty much on par with them. Maybe just a teeny bit higher, but that's because of the liner, and that, is the significant
Yeah.
cost for us in the product. And then there's even dancewear brands that have higher price ones that are like super luxury, like Oh La La is one of them that, they'll have leotards that are $230. So when looking at pricing, obviously we have to cover our costs, make sure that this is worthwhile. Tariffs is an issue right
Oh,
now. We
yeah.
do produce overseas because that's where the period manufacturers are. I mean, we are a high quality brand. Like all of these additional things are what everything else lacks that we're trying to provide. And like I said, super high quality fabrics that cost more money. So really we're trying to be affordable, but also not cheapen the brand, because you are getting a lot more for your money and you're getting really good quality. And we want to keep that standard of quality. And we need to be able to have that in order to get those things inside the product. And then in addition, like you said, you save money on not having to buy 1,000 bras and not having to, buy all the tampons and the pads. And it's estimated that women spend about 2,300 or 23,000 a year on bras and tampons and pads. So it could be a huge saving for you. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. One last thing that I noticed on your listings, you have noted that you donate 5% of every sale to a nonprofit called Days for Girls, which works to ensure that girls all around the world have access to period protection. Why was that important to you, and how did you choose the charity? I think that's
Yeah,
great.
that was so important to me just from the very beginning. So I actually know Days for Girls. I have grown up. They're actually have their headquarters in my home city, so Salt Lake City, Utah. And I grew up through my church and through my schools, actually doing service projects for this company. And so I trust them. I know that they're a good charity and that their money really goes to these projects. And also the person who founded it, I read her book and I was just blown away by this need that she perceived. So now there are more companies that do this, but she was kind of the first one that figured out that this was an issue. And it's really sad, but these girls in these third world countries missed out on education because they were having their periods. They didn't have any products, and so they couldn't go to school. So they'd end up, not graduating. They'd end up not getting the same education as the boys, sometimes even dropping out altogether just because of their periods. And then the saddest thing I read about it is she noticed that first, and then as she kind of got into it and providing these things, she also noticed that sometimes the men would manipulate these girls and make them do sexual favors or sexual acts in return for period products. So
Wow.
sorry, gosh. Anyway, so it's a big problem, and these
Yeah.
girls were just really suffering
Yeah.
because of it. And she recognized this, and something as simple that we take for granted every day, is to have these period products, and it changed these girls' whole lives. So sorry, they are a great charity. I think 100% of their donations go um, towards their products, and then everybody else is just volunteer. Not only do they give the products, but they also educate the locals, because they feel like that is even more important, where if they can pass on that knowledge, then they, can change a whole village instead of just coming once a year and dropping stuff, so that's a big part of their mission. And yeah, so every single product that we sell, 5% of the sales goes towards this charity. And I also love that it's female focused. I really want to keep my company female focused. I want to support charities that are female focused. I want to be able to hire employees that are females. I think all of my employees so far have been female. I did have an intern who did some work for me, and he was a male, but he was amazing. Not that anything against males whatsoever. They're great. And my husband helps out. He's a male. But I just feel like there is a gap in, being able to offer jobs to women and especially work at home moms, just being a mom myself, knowing how hard it is to try and do something with kids. So because I'm an e-commerce company, schedules are very flexible. And so
Yeah.
I want to be able to offer jobs to work at home moms. So I just really, that's the whole mission of the company is like, we're very female focused. We want to empower women. We want to help women as much as possible. So.
Yeah, that's great. But wanted to make sure I highlighted that because I noticed that in your product description, and I thought that that was such a cool piece to the brand itself, and that you're
Thank
also
you.
giving back. So if you're supporting your brand, you're giving back to this mission as well. Um, do you have any holiday sales or pre-orders coming up for anything that you want to tell people about?
Yeah, so right now we are offering a 20% off coupon for Black Friday. And then if you sign up for our email list, you also get a first subscriber 20% off coupon. And you can stack those coupons on your first order. So
Wow.
it's a total of 40% off on your first order. We only have the first product, but I was trying to get it out before Black Friday. We'll see if I can. Pre-orders on our shirts because our shirts are almost in. And so, yeah, I'll try and open that up for pre-orders. We don't have it quite yet, but we're in the process of producing it. So we're going to have it really soon. Sorry, guys. Like, there's a lot of barriers. Like, tariffs is a barrier. And just like I said, there's not a lot of manufacturers that do this. And because I'm a small fish in the sea, like they kind of don't prioritize me right now. So I just I'm at the mercy of them, but I'm trying my hardest to get products out as quickly as possible and offer them as quickly as possible instead of just waiting for everything to be ready. I'm trying to get them out. Support us. Like we're trying to do everything we can to support you and help you with what you need. Comments, please tell me what you want. And I love to take those all into account and, I'll put it in queue for something that we can develop. So give me all the feedback, please. I love it. Even if you don't buy the product, tell me what you want.
Yeah, where can people give you feedback and where can they find you online?
Yeah, so the best place is to just go to our website. It's www.pulseshop.com, and Pulse is with a Z. So you can go there, you can sign up for an email list, you can get your coupon, and that's the best way to reach us right now. We're trying to get, other things out, but you can also follow us on social media. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and that's just at Pulse Shop, again with a Z. So yeah, we're coming out with new releases and discounts and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so give you guys a follow so we can stay up to date on everything as it releases. What's your return or exchange policy, just so people know?
Yeah, so again, a little tricky because we are a hygiene product, and
Yeah.
I actually am trying to get FDA approved on it. I think I have to actually because of what kind of product it is. So, we'd love to like take any kind of returns, but we can't just to be, compliant with all of that. So as long as it hasn't been worn, like if it still has the hygiene liner in it and it still has the tags on it, then you can return it or you can exchange it for another size within 30 days. Unfortunately, if it's been worn or if that liner is removed, then we cannot accept it. But contact us and we'll try and make it right with you. So yeah, let us know.
Perfect. Is there anything else you want to close with today and tell our audience about the product, about your journey, or anything else?
Um, I don't think so. Just again, we'd love your support. We'd love you to try it out. I know it's kind of a scary thing. It's a new product. It's a new concept, but just try it out and see what you think. And I think you'll be like pleasantly surprised. It really is amazing. It really works well. I again, didn't release the product earlier. People kept telling me, oh, you just need to get something out. And I'm like, no, like, it's got to be right. I don't want to put something out there that doesn't work well, that doesn't look well, that I can't put my name behind it. So we took a ton of care just making sure that the product was absolutely perfect. So give it a try and then tell me what you think. And, if it needs to be improved, we'll work on that. So.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me today and spending time talking about your products. And I hope everybody listening has a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something. Please be sure to follow or subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Also, make sure you head over to Instagram and YouTube and follow us there. Send us your listener questions, topic suggestions, and feedback at doctordancemompodcast@gmail.com. That's Doctor, fully written out, Dance Mom Podcast, also fully written out, @gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening.